From August the 2nd to September the 14th, Ukrainian drones attacked 13 oil refineries in Russia. The total refining capacity of the attacked oil refineries is about 114.5 million tons per year. Recently, the Ukrainian president emphasized that this was a significant blow to the oil refineries. Volodymyr Zelensky stated that the most effective sanctions are fire at Russian oil refineries. The Kremlin can wage war against Ukraine only by selling gas, oil, and other energy resources, which is why the head of Ukraine thanked the SBU Special Forces, who did a good job in Primorsk, since the largest Russian terminal in the Baltic Sea is located there. Ukrainian special forces are also targeting the port in Ust-Luga, the Ukrainian president said. Ukrainian drones are already capable of covering distances of thousands of kilometers, Zelensky emphasized. Ukraine has successes not only on the territory of the Russian Federation, but also in Ukraine. Zelensky thanked the soldiers of the 225th Assault Regiment and the 71st Brigade for their successes in the Sumy region. Russia and Ukraine have been engaged in major aerial battles targeting energy and transportation infrastructure as Moscow presses its fierce ground assault in the Ukrainian east in the war's fourth year and tests a type of hypersonic weapon. Attacks on energy infrastructure by both Russia and Ukraine come as United States President Donald Trump has said he is ready to sanction Russia, but only if all NATO allies agree to completely stop buying oil from Moscow and impose their own sanctions. Recently, Ukrainian drones attacked the Kyiv oil refinery in Russia's northwest, one of the country's biggest, sparking a fire when debris fell from a shot-down drone, Russian officials said. As big powers talk about how to end the deadliest conflict in Europe since World War II, the drone war is heating up, with Russian drones downed in NATO member Poland and attacks by Ukraine against the oil refineries and pipelines of Russia, the world's second biggest oil exporter. Surgutneft Gaz's Kyiv Togsintes refinery, one of the top two refineries in Russia, was attacked by Ukrainian drones, Russian officials said.
Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Monday that NATO is in a de facto conflict with Russia. This is obvious and does not require any additional evidence. NATO is de facto involved in this war. NATO provides both indirect and direct support to the Kiev regime, Peskov said Monday during a call with reporters. Therefore, we can say with absolute certainty that NATO is at war with Russia, he added. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that no progress has been made in organizing a Russia-US-Ukraine summit. Russia still maintains its interest and readiness to settle the Ukrainian crisis by political and diplomatic means, he said when asked about President Donald Trump's statement that his patience was running out. Kyiv is artificially slowing down the process. Speaking in a call with reporters, Peskov said that there is no flexibility in the Ukrainian position. There is no readiness by the Kyiv regime to start a serious discussion. There are only calls for an immediate meeting aimed at emotional effect. Any such meetings, any high-level contacts must be well prepared to cement the work done in advance on expert level, Peskov said. Neither the Kyiv regime, nor the Europeans have readiness to deal with it. He warned that a leaders' meeting, without preparations, will be absolutely useless. Russia's Security Council deputy chairman and former president Dmitry Medvedev has threatened NATO with a war. Medvedev said the idea to create a no-fly zone over Ukraine and the possibility for NATO countries to shoot down Russian drones would mean a war between the alliance and Russia. Seriously, implementing the provocative idea of Kyiv and other idiots to create a no-fly zone over Ukraine and allowing NATO countries to down our drones will mean only one thing: NATO's war with Russia, Medvedev wrote on Telegram on Monday. He was responding to a statement by Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski on the introduction of a no-fly zone over Ukraine. Medvedev also slammed Eastern Sentry, initiative launched by the NATO to bolster the alliance's eastern flank after Russia's drone incursions into Poland's airspace last week. This seems to be all that remains of the coalition of the willing, Medvedev said, while commenting on the initiative. The Eastern Sentry operation will involve assets from Denmark, France, the United Kingdom, Germany, and others. It should be noted that multiple Russian drones were downed by NATO fighter jets during Russia's unprecedented incursion into Poland's airspace on Wednesday. The incursion was the most serious violation of NATO airspace since the start of Russia's full-fledged invasion of Ukraine. In his Telegram post, Medvedev also mocked Estonian Defense Minister Hanno Pevkur for his recent visit to Ukraine. An Estonian defense minister has arrived in Kiev. He is threatening. The smaller the country, the more aggressive and foolish its leaders tend to be, he wrote.
Russia is facing an unprecedented reduction in the rye harvest. Only 1.166 million tons were harvested in 2024, which is the lowest figure for the entire period of modern observations. The Russian edition of Forbes writes about this with reference to the Analytical Center of Agribusinesses AB Center. According to the head of the center, Alexei Plugov, in 2024, production fell by more than a third compared to 2023, when the decline was 21.4%. Forecasts for 2025 look even more gloomy. About 1 million tons are expected, which means another decline of 16%. Against the backdrop of crop failure, Russia has sharply increased food imports. In January to July 2025 alone, $24.3 billion worth of food and raw materials were imported into the country, which is about 15% more than a year earlier. This was a record increase among all product categories. For the first time in 6 years, the Russian Federation turned out to be a net importer of food. Imports exceeded exports by $3.8 billion. The food shortage manifested itself, among other things, in a sharp rise in prices for borscht set vegetables. Products from Mongolia, China, India, Argentina, the UAE, and other countries began to be imported into the country en masse. The crisis was aggravated by weather problems and the lack of access to foreign seeds in Russia. Then farmers lost up to 20% of the potato harvest, about 12% of grain and more than 20% of beets. The year 2025 did not bring relief. The south of Russia was engulfed by drought, due to which grain harvests in the Krasnodar territory and Rostov region may be the lowest in the last 13 years. The harvest of cherries in Krasnodar decreased by almost 4 times, sunflower and corn by a quarter. Buckwheat also fell to a 6-year minimum. Professor Peter Frankopan of the International Institute for Strategic Studies noted, "This situation exposes the structural weakness of Russia's military economy. The crisis in Russian agriculture is increasing the country's dependence on imports, undermining the stability of the economy and demonstrating the weakness of the Kremlin model." Furthermore, media wrote that Russia will be hit by a wave of layoffs. Millions will soon lose their jobs. Symptoms of the crisis in the Russian economy are growing, and local businesses are entering autumn with anxiety. Every 10th company is planning to lay off employees. The economy is stalling, demand is falling, and instead of new jobs, the army of those preparing to lose their jobs is growing. According to a study by the service Rabota.ru and Spurpodbar published in Izvestia, 12% of organizations reported plans to reduce their staff. A year ago, there were significantly fewer of them, only 8%. At the time, the number of companies ready to hire has fallen by almost half. If at the end of 2024, every second company was looking for employees, now only a quarter. If you scale that 12% of companies to real numbers, that's hundreds of thousands of firms across the country. Even with minimal layoffs, that could mean millions of jobs at risk. What is happening is causing greater anger among the population against the government.